Hey guys, it's Bree with the V-Face, and today we have another Ready to Love review. This is Season 7, Episode 11. This is the Meet the Parents episode, which we always get into shenanigans. So we first run into Mike meeting Brandy's parents. I like them, and I like the relationship that Brandy seems to have with them. They all seem very comfortable with each other and like really fun, especially the mom. I like the mom a lot. She seems like a lot of fun. She seems cool. The dad at the end was like, he said all the right things, but did he say too many right things? I mean, is it kind of a too good to be true situation? Which, good catch, Dad, because it could be. He might just be really good at talking to parents. I mean, he is one. He knows what they might want to hear. He's, had in-laws, so I'm sure he knows that side of things too. So, I mean, who knows? But Mike did a really good job with the parents, with both parents that, he met. Both sets of parents. Swayze meets Kadian's godmom. I don't understand why they're always getting into arguments. Like, everything the other does makes the other mad. Like, one person will do something, the other is just upset immediately at all times. So the godmom, Megan, I don't feel like she was actually saying too much. But what she was talking about was like how they're communicating with each other and blah, blah, blah. I don't like that anyone on Kadian's side never addresses how Kadian is. They're just like, oh, this is how she is. Like, there's never any accountability for like how Kadian comes across, how she talks to people. It's just, this is her personality and you need to adjust to better accommodate her personality because she's certainly not changing, and we don't think she needs to because she's perfect in all her ways. So like, the godmom wasn't saying anything negative, she wasn't saying anything wrong, but I just feel like there's always an accommodation made. There's always, an excuse made for how she is and that she doesn't need to change. So I will say that about that conversation. They didn't get in an argument this episode, so that's cool. I mean, they did get in an argument this episode. In that conversation, they did get in an argument, but they did have a little tiff where Swayze was telling Kadian, just chill out. Like, what are you asking me? Calm down. Like, all of that stuff. So it is what it is there. Randall meets Jamala's mom and sister, and I don't know, like, nothing really happened there. I mean, they kind of made a big deal about the mom bringing out a list of questions from the dad, but it wasn't anything major, so I don't know. I mean, he's a very chill, laid back, quiet guy, and so all they really did was talk about their little tiff at the getaway, and he maintains she needs to chill out a little bit and let me go through this process. So, I mean, that interaction wasn't really giving anything. I did like that he said, when he was saying what he likes about Jamala, that, when they're having a conflict, it's really easy to come out of the conflict with her just because of how they interact. I did like that part. But he is aware that he has issues with communication. So at least he's acknowledging that and not saying, oh, it's all her, she needs to blah, and I don't need to do anything. I've been doing exactly what I should be doing. He's like, I acknowledge I have issues with communication. That's a thing. However, so I appreciate that. Samson meets Cherise's dad, and it seems real icy on all their parts. Like, it doesn't, I can't even tell if it went well because they're just all like real, not giving anything, like all of them, every single last one. And the dad was really like kind of short and not in like a rude way, but just in like a succinct way. And I can concur because I feel like my dad is the same way. He's not gonna give you too much energy. That's just how he is, really calm, laid back. He's not saying too much. However, this man was talking about his I don't understand why he was saying this to his daughter. And he was like, yeah, I knew how to talk to parents, and then I was bending their daughter over. I said, sir, you're on TV and you're talking to your daughter. Like, who says these types of things? That is weird. Like, that is an odd thing that you would communicate to your child, but whatever. Samson and Cherise did get into it a little bit because, okay. It seems as though Cherise got upset because all Samson could say about like what he liked about her was family values. So basically not really anything about how she wanted him to say like, oh, she's so funny and she's so fun and I enjoy spending time with her. And he was just like, yeah, we align on our family values. Which of course we don't know if he said anything else because editing is not going to show you the whole conversation that they had. But she picked that part out and like rolled her eyes. So in this scenario, Cherise was going a little wild because there was a point in time where she said, or Samson said, you know, I like women who are self-sufficient, like they don't really need me. And Cherise jumped in and was like, well, in a relationship, you need each other. And both the dad and Samson were like, this is a particular context we're talking about. We're not talking about not needing the other person in a relationship context. I'm talking about being an independent person who has your own stuff, who doesn't need me to provide like a certain lifestyle or anything like that for you, that you're whole on your own. Like that was kind of, I mean, that's what I got from it. And it seemed like that's what both of the men were jumping in to explain to her. And so I just feel like in that scenario, okay, you're going a little wild because you could have just let them have their conversation. I don't really feel like you needed to interject. And then you interjected with the wrong information. So what was the point there? This is the one scenario where I can say, okay, Samson, I see what you're talking about. But in the previous situation from last episode, I didn't think Cherise was saying anything crazy. So yeah, he redeemed himself a little bit because Cherise was acting a little extra here. So Randall and Mike both meet Kayla's parents. I'm very glad that they've made it two separate occasions. I feel like that would be way, way, way too awkward if Kayla had both these guys here at the same time meeting the parents. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it would have been more of a competition situation. I don't feel like it really needed to be. I feel like this is the point in time where you're focusing on and like honing in on your individual connections. You don't need to add that competition aspect when you're meeting family. I feel like that just doesn't help. So Kayla's parents seem like really solid people. They seem, you know, like very comfortable with, you know, the questions that they want to ask. They feel comfortable with, you know, the guys that they're around, and it seems like really chill on all parts. They were getting them questions. They certainly were. Like, they were no holds barred with these men. But it seemed like they got along with Mike a little bit more, maybe because he's a little more outgoing and talkative, and Randall's just a laid-back kind of guy, so maybe their personalities just meshed more with Mike's. There is a point in time where the parents are like, you know, what would you change about Kayla? And Mike said nothing, but then they were like, well, what would you change about the other connection? And Mike said about Brandy, he would change the fact that she needs so much reassurance, that he doesn't particularly care for that. I don't know if I'd have said that in that situation, but if it's honest, it's honest. I don't know, I just feel like it definitely made it definitely, I think, achieved the point of giving Kayla a little bit more confidence. And so he was reassuring her in that scenario anyway, but you know, it is what it is. Then they were talking to Randall, and the parents asked him, I think, like, what qualities are you looking for in a woman? And he's listing off like qualities that he likes, and the dad was like, you got like 1 of 5 with Kayla. So no, I don't know how y'all are gonna make that work. But it's really weird because I feel like the qualities he was listing off was like kind and, you know, compassionate, big heart, and like speaks their mind. And the dad was like, speaks their mind. That's it. That's the one. That's all. And I'm like, so she's not kind, she's not big-hearted, she's not compassionate. Like, those are not like odd things to be asking for that you would say, yeah, she got 1 of those and that's about it. Katie and Swayze go out on a date on their own to, you know, their intent on solving their communication issues. And so of course, misunderstandings ensue. And it's really weird because they're really saying the same things to each other. And Swayze mentioned that. He's like, we're saying the same things, but we say it so differently that then it's just misunderstood. Like, for example, Swayze said, she's asking for too much reassurance. It's feeling insecure. Then Katie was like, he wants me to baby him, and I'm not trying to baby no man, and blah, blah. I'm like, y'all are, that's literally the same. Y'all are saying the same things to each other. Break up. Like, honestly, I just feel like y'all don't even really like each other. It's just giving, I need to have a connection. And this is what's here. It doesn't seem like y'all actually like each other. I don't know if I would stay in something where it's like, we misunderstand each other at every turn. There's never a time where it's just all cool all the time. Like, it's just a constant battle with this person. It's like you're always fighting with each other. Break up. Y'all don't need to be together that bad. Like, especially having known each other for only maybe like a month at this point, there's really nothing holding y'all there. Just break up. I will say though, there was one point where Swayze was being a little shady because he was like, I'm sorry for keeping you from all your connections. I'm like, you know that girl ain't had no multiple connections. Being shady is what that was. So then we get to Deliberation, and I appreciate that Mike was so forthcoming with Brandy, because Brandy brought up the fact that, you know, Mike was telling her the questions that Kayla's parents asked, and then the specific question about what would you change about, you know, the ladies, and he said nothing about Kayla, but then he said reassurance about Brandy. I appreciate that, because at least then, you know, one, she's not having to see this after the fact, or she's not having Kayla bring it up in Deliberation, so she's caught off guard and embarrassed, but that she actually was able to get ahead of it and say, you know, he said this, I feel some type of way about it, and so we're gonna have to work through that. I do appreciate that. Cherise is talking about what she needs from Samson. Now, this is where her story kind of starts to shift, right? Because at the beginning, or last episode or whatever, she was saying he doesn't open up to her, right? And that was the big issue. She needs more from him. He's not opening up. Then the story shifts to like, he's not giving me enough attention. Now, of course, 2 things can be true, and maybe you wanted both and both were always on the table, but it seems like she does not think that he likes her, right? And so she wants to be reassured that which isn't, there's nothing wrong with that. You want to be reassured that this man actually is feeling you, that this could go somewhere after the fact. However, I just feel like, then say that, right? I just feel like that's where you get the miscommunication, where it's like, I'm focused on you opening up and telling me more about you, but not really, because what I want is for you to tell me how you feel about me. So those are different things. So I'm a little confused on if we just missed that last episode where she really wanted him to tell her more about how he feels, which would make sense for him to be like, so like all the things that I've said to you, like that doesn't make sense, you know, like, are you doubting, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense with what he was saying. Although, you know, if what she was asking for was some reassurance, give the girl the reassurance, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it's not mathing to me. And this is why I'm like, listen, stop editing these shows in a way that makes me cape for Cherise, and then I gotta backtrack the next episode. Like, stop doing showing it. I don't understand. Like, you can never get a full picture because they chop and screw these things so much that it's like, what the heck are we even talking about now? Like, I don't even understand what the argument is with Samson and Cherise. Like, again, break up. Y'all are not this invested to be having these arguments already. Like, go away from each other. It's not necessary. Anyway, then we get to the elimination date, and it's really just Cherise and Samson, and it's the first time he comes empty-handed, which probably means he knows that he's in the bottom, and he's like, whatever, I'm not even trying to make a good impression or connect or anything. Like, I'm already aware of what's going on. Samson did show his tail again on this one because he was saying a lot of negative things about Cherise. And it seems like his intent was to hurt her feelings. And he was saying, like, you know, all the things against her that the guys have said in like the men's lounge of, like, you know, whatever Zoe said, and, you know, whatever Justice the one who was talking about her? Or Swayze? I don't know. He said a whole bunch of names. It was like spilling all sorts of information. I was like, all these dudes have this to say and I should listen and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oof, this went as bad as it could go. Cherise did say one good piece of information throughout this whole argument was like, I mean, then you really don't like me. And yeah, facts, because I don't feel like if you really like this girl that you would have said all that negative stuff. I think that you really would have tried to find a way to come together and work it out. And he seems like he was just kind of defending his ego, like his pride was a little hurt that he was being eliminated, and that's how it manifested in this episode. So listen, yeah, they needed to break up. That argument was wild to me. In the previews, it's the season finale, so I guess this is where like everyone's choosing everyone. Swayze and Kadian. It sounded like Swayze and Kadian. That was weird. Swayze and Kadian get into it again, of course. And then she starts crying, which is a little odd to see because she hasn't done that throughout the show. She's really been kind of claws bared the whole time. But she starts crying, which I guess means maybe she really did like this man. Who knows? But anyway, it's time for people to make their final decisions. I think that if Mike chooses Kayla, it'll be just shocking. It'll be the shock of the season, because what was all of that energy with Brandy then? And what was all this side chick energy that you were giving to Kayla if you choose her at the end? I cannot imagine Randall choosing Jamala after all of this. Not choosing Jamala. I can't imagine Randall not choosing Jamala and then just veering and choosing Kayla, because to be honest, Kayla's not even choosing him. I think she just has him on deck. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, that is it for me today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.